What up? It's Fred Ray, the guy who started Rain City Capital back in 2009 when private lending wasn't exactly the cool kid on the block. Welcome to Good Nuggets, a podcast that's as much about the failures and holy shit moments as it is about the wins. Here's the deal. I watched people go from nearly walking out of the door to becoming absolute powerhouses in this business. We'll get into the weeds with loan officers, talk strategy with fellow lenders, and swap war stories with entrepreneurs who have been there. No fluff, no corporate BS, just authentic conversations and practical takeaways you can actually use. So grab whatever you're drinking, get comfortable, and let's get after some good nuggets.
Yes, leave that part out. But then I did real estate for several years, flipping and slowly flipping a couple. Mm-hmm. And then I focused more on end users, people that wanted to live in the house. And then I met your wife. She mentioned, hey, you should talk to my husband. I'm like, I don't know, because I was successful. I was loving what I was doing. It just consumed too much of my time as having young children. Mm-hmm. I wanted to be in this space, and I didn't know where to go, but several years in real estate. And
so you liked real estate, you knew the real estate game, but you definitely, you've never done the whole lending part.
Yes.
But I remember when you first started, I was like, why are you quitting? And I thought for sure that you weren't going to quit. I was like, there's no chance.
I think you and the other individual had said, I'm not coming. They didn't think I was going to come.
Yeah, I was just like, oh my gosh, why would you leave a successful business? Because you were closing 30 transactions a year. You weren't there's the 80-20 rule with real estate agents. 20% of them do 80% of the transactions, vice versa, whatever. You were definitely in that 20% and, not a knucklehead.
Absolutely.
But it was just the weekends. Your kids were getting older. Weekends were driving people around and whatnot.
Absolutely. I was very what I felt was successful in real estate. I loved what I was doing, but it was before offer review dates was a thing in real estate. And I was getting up at the table during dinner and helping people show houses. It was ruining my life. I could have done better time management, what I know now as older self, but I still at that point, I was in it for 13, 14 years, if I'm doing the math correctly, because I've been here for 7. Well, that would be 3, but 13. But I needed something different. And that's why I was struggling. Because if you remember, I chose not to come. I said I was going to come. And then I'm like, no, I can't come. And I waffled back and forth in December. Do you remember that?
I don't remember the waffle. Yeah.
I waffled because I was scared. I'm like, why would I leave this to try something new here? And that's why my start date was January 1st, is because in December I was waffling. I'm like, oh, man. It's probably why you didn't think I was coming.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I was skeptical for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's fast forward. How many times did you think about quitting? And how many times did you actually tell me that you were quitting?
Okay. Oh, this is fun because I don't think a lot of Rain City people know our journey for the first couple of years either, just because we've grown so much. The first year, you have to remember, as we just talked about, I was really successful here and I knew nothing over in this side except for real estate. Mm-hmm. And so I was learning everything new. I was like, is this what I want to do? I hate math. And I was mathing. So I was like, fuck. Yes, I swear to. Thank you, Rain City. And I probably the first 6 months wanted to quit several times. What the hell am I doing? Because I was also driving. Several times,
20 times, 15 times, 10.
I only remember 3 in particular that I'm like, okay, this is not for me. This is not what I want to do. And I told you once.
You told me twice. You tried to quit twice.
Did I?
Yeah, the first time you were kind of waffling on if you want to quit. I was like, Lesa, you've only been here for 2 weeks.
That was counting one of the times I was thinking it.
Yeah, what's going on? And then we sat in this office.
Yes.
7-ish years ago.
Yes.
And you were like, I'm done.
Yeah.
I can't do this. I'm never going to make enough money. Blah, blah, blah. And you tried to quit.
I do remember that. Yes, I was counting that.
So twice you kind of tried to quit, and then at least as far as I know. So you were definitely more times that you're at least trying to quit in your head, but there's only a couple times.
And then the last time though, when I was like, I'm doing it. I'm just gonna go into your office. I was so nervous and I was so scared. I'm like, nope, this is not the right thing for me. I'm done. I've never looked back ever since. And I think I've called you several times. Thank you for not letting me quit. Mm-hmm. Yes. And I'm very thankful on that. Yeah. It's just a transition.
It's tough.
It is. It's very tough.
I strive to like listen, especially when people are going through, stuff like that. And everything you were telling me was like, this is going to be a right transition. It just sucked. Yeah. And you had to give up all these other things because, for me and for Rain City and just everybody in general, like we just don't allow kind of like dual things. I was like, you can't be a wholesaler and make loans. Yep. Can't be a real estate agent and make loans on that same property. Like double dipping is just, it's not to anybody's benefit except for the person that's actually doing the transaction. But anyway, I was so thankful that obviously for a million different reasons, I mean, you're the most successful loan officer Rain City's ever had. You got a few people on your heels, but
they're far enough away from my heels. It's okay.
It's far enough away. And you're motivated enough.
Yes.
It's always fun to go back and think about that. Yeah. We've had a lot of conversations just over the years of that part, but also just like the maturation over time.
Right.
You've had some success. And for anybody new or that's coming into the business new and watching this, what's our like keys to success that you would give or advice that you would give to someone new and starting out in the business?
You've got to dig in, put in the work, and you've got to trust and have faith in the work you're putting in, because a lot of times you're not going to see the results immediately. Mm-hmm. And I had to see that. I made a lot of calls in my first 6 months, first year of the business. I mean, I started my event, out of the just to get the word out, and I didn't really see true results in about a year ultimately, and having faith in the work you're putting in, having faith in the seeds you're watering, and know that it'll bear fruit at some point, you know what I mean? And not quitting out too early.
Not like that instantaneous.
Yeah, you're not going to see the instant success. You're really not. You know what I mean? I think when you're continuing to put the work every single day, you've got to continue to build and continue to have faith in what you're doing. You know what I mean? I lost faith a lot of times in the process, man. I mean, even in my first year, I was like 10, 11 months in. I was coming up on my year mark, and I wasn't really reaching the numbers I really wanted to hit. Mm-hmm. And, I remember just moving in with Preet in Vancouver. Preet's my fiance. And man, she was really bearing the brunt of the mortgages and bills. And I was looking at other jobs. I'm not going to lie, man. And then,
fair enough.
And then she told me straight up, like, don't get another job, double down and continue to put in the work. And that's essentially what I did. 2 months later, it just started to hit.
Yeah, it started to hit.
It really started to hit.
Why do you think that is? Like, why do you think that it's a year to really kind of get going? At least for you, not necessarily for everybody.
Not necessarily for everybody. I think a lot of it is you've got to build your credibility. Mm-hmm. I think in the industry, especially when you're dealing with real estate and other, and other people's money, they've got to make sure you're legit. You've got to establish some sort of track record, and you've got to build a relationship. You know what I mean? Ultimately, at the end of the day, because you can't have a long-term relationship or have like a solid friendship at a first date. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You've got to continue to build that, and when you continue to earn people's trust, you put your face out there, you deliver and execute on things, and the word gets around that you are executing and you are honest with your shit. You know what I mean? Word starts to get around.
Yep.
And I think that's what happened with me ultimately.
Nice.
So
why do you think Preet told you to double down? Women's intuition's a bitch, man.
I know, man. I literally, I was surprised, man, because at the time she was paying majority of the mortgage because my commission checks weren't really coming in the way I really wanted them to.
Yeah, I mean, by all means, she could have just been like, nope, see you later.
Easily,
just go and get another job or go and do whatever.
Any girl could have easily been like, dude, or put me down, mm-hmm. right? And or so you got to help out sooner or later. No, she was willing to really brunt the burden of the bills until I got my shit together.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And so really appreciate that from her, man. That's why she's the one for me.
So what did she see in you?
You got to ask her that, man. I think she told me that she believes I have a bright future. I think she oh man, we hit it off, man. We hit it off. It's tough to say because we met in Hawaii 4 years ago now.
Yeah, that's right. You met in Lahaina, right?
Yeah, we met in Lahaina. Yeah, you met in Lahaina. Yeah. So
that's funny. I kind of have a similar story, and that's where like I've grown to like value a woman's intuition. This is about me, but I'll share it real quick.
Please.
So when I met Katie, my wife, when I met Katie, I was not working very hard. I was making a lot of money. I was doing second mortgages all over the place, and I didn't have to work that hard. Like I was straight chilling. I was maybe working 20 hours a week and doing well. And I was like snowboarding a ton and whatnot. So when I met Katie, I was set. Like I was dialed. At least I felt like it.
Yep.
And Katie was just like really positive influence. She hated that I swore all the time. All these other things. So fast forward, I met her March 2008. Shitty timing for sure. Like some of the writing was on the wall.
Yeah.
But 6 months later, if anybody has watched like The Big Short or read The Big Short, fuck man, I only watched that movie once. I cried like 3 times in the movie. Haven't watched it since. I read the book. I thought it was cool, but when I like the emotions of it. So anyway, September rolls around. I talk her into going back to school. I talk her into moving in with me because like I knew she was the one.
Yeah.
And there was that one day where the stock market went down 1,000 points. Now that happens today all the time, but the stock market was like at 9,000, went down to 7,000. So it was bananas. That day also, the owner of the company that I was working for shut down, and I was also in the midst of losing fucking all of my money because it was all in second mortgages. Katie was there to pick me up. Like I'll never forget, I was sitting outside in this plastic chair and she was inside making dinner, and like what she signed up for was not the life that she was going to have over the next 6 months. And she ended up getting like this settlement from a car accident. And I have no fucking clue why, but she never doubted me. She was just like, you've done this before, get it together, go back up there. I mean, it wasn't all sunshine and roses, but I had a very similar situation where I was like riding high, met Katie, very new, and then just fucking lost it all. Like went back to zero. And going from a millionaire to zero it's hard.
It's
terrible. But anyway, I if I didn't have that positive light in my life, I have no idea what would have happened. I have no idea where I would be. But yeah, man.
Love that, man. I gave me goosebumps.
I guess, what do you think was the fulcrum or the transition point for you? Was there like a point in time where you're like, oh yeah, this is it? Like, oh yeah, this is starting to happen. Like, I guess.
Yeah, it was February. Honestly, it didn't really, I started picking up a little more regular where I was at least hitting, I mean, this sounds wild now, but I started hitting at least $1 million a month. Right. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, at least I feel like I'm paying for myself. You know what I mean? It was just like a little less guilty and whatnot towards, I would say towards mid 23 to end of 23. Mm-hmm. And then I had the absolute most garbage month in December. I think I closed like one loan, and it was like, I hate this. This is not going to happen. And then in January, it started picking up, but then really February is where it like just popped off. And I think it was certain things that were in the works for a long time, certain relationships that were being worked on, but then it just like, honestly, it just all fell at the same time.
Yeah, you're like, holy shit, now I'm starting to work again. Now, like, you go from grind in one way, grind to another way.
Yeah.
It's so kind of crazy. And it doesn't happen for everybody, but it seems to me there's like this, some people, they just have some early success and then they kind of like bump around, but really around a year is when they're like, they turn it around. And I mean, your story is very similar. And I'm just sitting here realizing that like, that really kind of is like the first year is just build. And then, like as you build and like, plant the seeds, you finally like get the crops of those things a year later, which is kind of wild to think about.
Yeah, and I think for everybody it's different because, like I'll talk to Alex and he'd be like, you want to sell loans, hit the phones, and like I remember him telling us that on like one of the sales retreats and I was like, okay. But then like, Lesa does so much other stuff as far as like, the classes she teaches and some of the, panels she's on and podcasts and all this other stuff. And it's awesome because she's, lights out all the time. And then same with Julian, like he's found different niches in different parts of his life. And I think for me, I just was like, I really just want to stick and focus on Tennessee. Since that market, like coming in, that was like what I know Ian and I discussed, but then also it's like, it was kind of like my home away from home growing up just because I was from Kentucky originally. So it was like right there. I knew some people and then slowly just started being consistent and going back there. And now, I mean, the classes I teach and the referrals I get, it's just,
it's working.
Remember the last time I made a cold call there, which is great. Like,
that's awesome.
But I should do that too.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, I just gotta keep the fresh ones coming in, right?
But it's been good.
So you glad you didn't quit?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
I am. I mean, I can't say every day is like, rainbows and roses and stuff, but at the end of the day, it's given me back what I wanted the most, which was, my health and like my mental sanity, my time back to be like a mom. Like I can leave if, something comes up with my kids or like just happened the other day. I wasn't able to ever go on field trips or anything like that with my last job. And this time I was like, I get to, take that break, come back, still, work and section off my calendar, but manage it appropriately versus
didn't fall apart. Like
just trying to get everything in, in that time frame. So that flexibility is what I needed. I cannot, my brain just does not function in like the set 9 to 5 or 8 to 5, or in my case, it was like 7 to 7 a lot of times because of I had East Coast and West Coast clients.
Yeah. So you're just like always on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a long time ago, actually. Now, the start of things for me, I was actually working at Bank of America. I was a teller in Everett. And this lady walked in and she had like the fattest check I'd ever seen. It was like 12 grand. And it was made out to her. And for those that don't know Everett, it's not...
12 G's in Everett is like, 50 G's in Bellevue.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of money. So I had to ask. I was like, what is this about? What do you do? How'd you get this? Why is it made out to you? And she tells me that she's a real estate agent. She helps agents get into the business and blah, 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 blah. So like 30 days later, we had exchanged phone numbers. I got my real estate license. 6 months later, I'd done a couple of transactions and like I absolutely hated it. It was like really emotion filled and there's a bunch of like babysitting you got to do with people and I just didn't want to do it. So I looked online, tried to figure out what to do with a real estate license. At the time, I was probably like 22. I came across Bigger Pockets and found out you could do all kinds of shit in real estate. And I set an alert for Everett because I wanted to be in the industry in Everett. And I got a hit for some company named Caliber, and they were looking for a wholesaler. I had no idea what a wholesaler was. I called them. They're like, yeah, do an interview. I drove to Bellevue. I met with Ian, sat across from Ian. I think he kind of fell in love with me because I had all this stuff about I want to make Everett better, and I really love Everett.
The altruistic little Ian's from Everett, so
Ian's from Everett, so it was like hitting all the strings. But he was like, "Man, you're too young to wholesale. Like you have no life experience. Go talk to this guy named Fred. He does money stuff. You can work for him." I was like, oh, okay, sure, whatever. So I get dressed up in a suit. I come into this office, and the first thing, it was literally this office. And the first thing you said to me, I don't even know if we had spoken up until that point. I think I probably made the appointment with Darcy. So I had no idea who you were. I didn't know shit about Rain City.
You're like, you probably didn't know research either. You just like
showed
up in your S10 like, hey, what's up? I'm about to go do some stuff.
That's literally exactly what happened. I walked in. The first thing you said to me is, what the fuck are you wearing? And I look around this office. There's all this sports memorabilia shit. I was going to a Seahawks game that day. I was like, I got my jersey in the truck, blah, 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 blah. And you're like, whatever, just sit down. And within a couple minutes, you had found out that I did absolutely no research, didn't know who you were, what this company didn't know what hard money was.
Did I straight tear you apart? Or
you destroyed me. Yeah, absolutely. I left here thinking, wow, I really fucked that up. And I thought it was over with. And then Ian was like, I don't know, maybe a couple days later, hey, take this strength finder test, blah, blah, blah. We're going to get you on board, whatever. I was like, okay, here we fucking go. So I worked for Caliber as the liaison between their investor clients and investor realtors and Rain City. And basically was, I guess what we would consider now like a production partner for Ian, bringing loans in and Caliber getting paid on it. Did that for like a year. And I think the worst fear of everyone who hires like a production partner is that they say, I want to do this on my own. At which point I came in here again and asked you to hire me. And you're like, you're out of your fucking mind, dude. I'm not going to take you from Ian. I barely know you, bro. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Well, Andy would ask so many questions.
Oh, yeah. I was
everything all the time.
All the time. Yeah, super annoying all the time. I still am. I feel like it gets me really far, though. So I left. I did some traditional mortgages with Bank of America. Went back to Bank of America. I did all kinds of shit in between. It was like a year and a half that I was away from Rain City. Stayed close with Jeff. Jeff was like, come back, blah, blah, blah. I was like, nah, Fred hates my guts. He was like, no, you're good. And then, I don't know, 6 months later, October 2020, I officially came back to Rain City.
And the rest is history.
And the rest is history. Or making history. Still happening.
Yeah, no shit. Okay, so October 2020 until now, time of Rain City. That's almost, wow. Good Lord. Tell me about the journey so far.
Yeah, so, coming back, I feel like it was, one of the riding a bike experiences, right? Because I had already learned systems, the programs.
Know what's going on.
It was cool to come back and have, a lot of the same faces here. Process was pretty much still the same. I basically just did the same stuff. I'm a dial for dollars guy. I mean, that's what I believe in. Hit the phones. You got to know your shit. So when people are trying to work with you, you actually do what you say you're going to do. But just being available and trying to push the envelope with Rain City and with underwriting and trying to get deals funded, especially stuff that maybe we don't really want to fund, but we've got a good reason to do so. I did some social media stuff, some events, just trying to make sure I could get myself out there. But I think...
And then you promptly stopped doing them.
Yeah, absolutely. Once I realized that I didn't need to do it to keep the business that I had going. I'm trying to do more. That is, like, specifically social media is one of the things that's high on my list to start doing again. I've seen a lot of loan officers have a ton of success with it when they stay on top of it,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, the journey has just been a grind. It's been the same thing the whole time. You try to stay in front of people, make sure you know your shit, fight for the good deals, get away from the bad ones, try not to get fired.